Tonight we will hear from the following candidates: Donald Castle, Jose Encarnacion, Richard Felton, Bain Field, Roger Garcia, Brian LaPierre, Nicole McClain, and Hong Net. Tonight's moderator will be Joe Scanlon.
Good evening. My name's Joe Scanlon. I'm the treasurer of Lynn Community Television, and I'm the moderator for tonight. And I'm also a former city councilor, councilor of Ward 1, and a councilor at large. And I'll be, as I said, the moderator for this evening. So we're going to begin with a 90-second opening statement, and we're going to work around the table. The candidates are seated in alphabetical order. And then we'll proceed to the question portion of the program, and we'll just alternate on who goes first right around the table. So everyone has hopefully an opportunity to go first or go last, however you want to look at it. So the first opening statement is candidate for Councilor At-Large, Donald Castle.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Thank you to my fellow candidates and incumbents here tonight. Thank you for the Lynn Community TV for having me. Thank you to the citizens of Lynn for watching. I am a candidate for Councilor At-Large. I never thought about running for Councilor At-Large. I retired in January officially after several years with the state and city, and I was looking forward to a retirement. And in April, we lost our good friend and colleague, Buzzy Barton, and I decided to enter the race. And why am I running for this Councilor At-Large seat today is because I love the city of Lynn. I've been here my entire life. I went to Lynn Public Schools, I went to UMass, I went to law school. I worked as an assistant chief probation officer in Suffolk Superior Court, also in Lynn District Court, and I was the American Rescue Plan coordinator for the city of Lynn for a couple of years until retiring. I've knocked on thousands of doors. I've given out 12,000 flyers, meeting people, walking around and hearing your concerns. The number one concern why I'm running for Councilor At-Large is accountability, right? If someone says something or does something, you should be accountable for your actions. I'll hold myself to that standard as your Councilor At-Large, being accountable to you, the voters, and the citizens of Lynn. I'm also focusing on making sure our police department, our fire department, and our DPW is fully funded. The number one concern I'm hearing in our city, all over the city, is the conditions of our streets and roads and curbs and neighborhood issues. I vow to be available 24/7 as your full-time counselor, working with you day in and day out to address your needs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next candidate, Jose Encarnacion.
Good evening. Thank you to Lynn Public Television for hosting these forums. Thank you very much. My name is Jose Encarnacion. I'm running for City Council at Large. This is my third time running. I'm a brother, I'm a father, I'm a son. I'm number 7 of 13 brothers and sisters. I'm married to my wife, Yesenia Encarnacion. I'm the father of 6 children, all of them born and raised here in Lynn. I went to, let me tell you a little bit about me. When I came here almost 40 years ago, I was a teenager. I didn't go to high school, so I went straight to take the GED. And then I went to North Shore Community College, did an associate, then transferred to UMass Boston, where I graduated for a bachelor's degree in economics. I'm a hardworking person. I work more than 40 hours a week. So I'm just one person just like you out there. And I'm running because the city of Lynn is a very diverse city. More than half of the population is Spanish. Nevertheless, we do not have a representation. We do not have a voice at the City Hall. So we ask that you please vote for me on November 7th. Thank you.
Richard Felton.
Thank you for Lynn Television for holding this forum. To the citizens of Lynn, my name is Richard Felton, and I'm running for City Councilman at Large because we think that we need a change within the city government and the representation within the city of Lynn. I've been a resident for the city of Lynn for over 30-some years. I raised my children here. They was born here at the old hospital. One was now Stop and Shop. One was is now a hole in the ground, which was Union Hospital. So we took in, this city needed a change. We need better police patrols. We need a hotel in the city. We lost the 2 we had. We need better streets. We need better overall patrols, the city, and what are you taking for the good of the city, the speeding down the streets, the drug problem we have. Those are all major concerns of this health city. I took in, as I was walking around, I met some people that they said they could not use the city streets because they had their grandkids. They couldn't put them in wheelchairs because it was inaccessible. On Newhall Street, I had one gentleman in a wheelchair. He couldn't walk, just use the streets because the street was raised up. So we need better representation within the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Brian Field.
Councilor Scanlon, and thank you, Lynn Community Television, for hosting tonight's event. Thank you to all who are following this on Facebook and watching live on Channel 37. Right now, I'm currently in my 3rd term serving as Councilor at Large, one of your 4 councilors at large. I was first elected 6 years ago, and during that 6 years, many of the issues that you'll hear discussed this evening are issues that we're dealing with as a council, along with Mayor Nicholson and past Mayor McGee. The issues around public safety, the issues around infrastructure, the issues around affordable housing. These are all issues that we've dealt with over the past 6 years that I've been on the council, and we've taken those issues head on. Some of those issues, some of the more tougher issues as far as opioid use and abuse in our city. The litter problem that we have in our city. Those are different issues that I've brought to the forefront. I've helped pioneer different committees. I helped serve on those committees as the new chair of public safety. I've had meetings in constant communication with our chief of police and chief of the fire, and I look forward to addressing more of those concerns. Listening to the residents of the city, we understand that speeding is one of those top priority issues, and I look forward to working with Chief Reddy to help and my colleagues on the council to continue moving our city forward to make it safer and healthier for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Roger Garcia.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Roger Garcia. I want to thank you, Lynn Television, for hosting this event tonight. Welcome all of you. I'm an immigrant that came here when I was 17 years old from the Dominican Republic. I have done nothing but work, and I believe that our city needs a lot of help. The reason why I'm running is because I can help. I've been a businessman for the last 20 years, owning a business, especially in Downtown Lynn, and I hear the people concerned. I'm really concerned citizen that all this struggle that we go through, we got to come together as a community to try to help. And I can give so much. I have a beautiful family of 4. I have a brother, I have 2 sisters. We all live in Lynn. This is our community, this is our city. We have so much to that we can do for our community. So I'm here to help. I'm here to give back to the city. I want to make Lynn a city that we can all live in peace without problem, without any gang problems. We need to fix our street. We have a wonderful place that we can make it better. And that's what I'm running for, to try to make it better. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Brian LaPierre.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you to Lynn Community Television for hosting us this evening. My name is Brian LaPierre. I'm currently a Councilor at Large, and Lynn means everything to me. I was born, raised here in Lynn. I've spent my life working to make it a better place. I'm running for re-election as your Councilor at Large to make our neighborhood safer, create local jobs, and respond to your concerns. As a city councilor, I've responded to nearly 3,000 constituent requests since being elected in 2016. I'm currently in my 4th term, fighting to make Lynn neighborhoods safer and cleaner, and to maintain public services for our residents. There's still work to be done. I'm running to be the person that helps all of our residents, from lifelong Lynners to those who may have just moved here recently. advance in this city, whether they're going to school here, whether they're raising a family here, or starting a new business. We'll get into more issues as this forum continues, but I do want to respectfully ask for one of your 4 votes on November 7th. I do appear as number 1 on the ballot, and there is more work to do, and we're up to the task. Thank you.
Thank you. Nicole McClain.
Good evening, everybody, and I want to thank Lynn Community Television for giving the community a voice every day and also for sharing the platform with us today. My name is Nicole McClain. I am currently one of your 4 councilors at large in the city of Lynn. I have a track record of local community engagement and a track record of service to our country. I am a veteran of the Army National Guard. The city of Lynn has been my home since birth. I live here and I work here. I am heavily invested in contributing to current positive initiatives and offering new ideas to our current city council and bringing those new ideas to our city as well. And I would love to leverage the relationships that I've made with the community organizations and community leaders in our city to make more informed decisions in our community and better collaborate as well with those community organizations that are working with housing, that are working with keeping Lynn clean, that are working to beautify our city. There's so many community organizations that are doing so many things. Their boots are on the ground, and those avenues haven't been explored as to how we can better collaborate with those groups. So I'm asking that you put me to work for our city. You can vote for me. I'm number 6 on the ballot, and I'm looking for one of your 4 votes on November 7th. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram at NicoleForLynn.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Hong Net.
Good evening, everyone. First, I want to thank Joe and the LCTV for hosting this forum. My name is Hong Net. I'm honored to share this table with these wonderful, amazing candidates here. I also want to thank those who are watching at home and for tuning in. Let me take this opportunity to thank the Lynn voters for putting their trust in me, by voting for me to be their voice at City Hall. I was elected to the City Council as Councilor at Large in 2011 and has been honored to serve the city I love for the past 12 years. In the past 2 years, my colleagues and I, together, we were able to establish a new senior center, reinstate the Lynn Ferry, build a storm water pump station on Commercial Street, create inclusive rezoning for minimum 10% affordable housing, work to build veteran housing, various locations, and approve infrastructure changes and much more. This year I'm running for re-election because I want to continue to work with all of you to make our Lynn a prosperous city and safe for everyone. I'm going to continue to advocate for funding to make sure that our police and firefighter and educator have the fund they need, deserve. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now we're going to go to the question portion of the program, and Jose Encarnacion will go first, and then we'll just rotate around the table, as I said earlier. So the first question, and everyone will have an opportunity to answer this question. What are you doing, or what will you do to help increase our commercial tax base?
Well, thank you for the question. That's a very important question. I think one of the things that we need in the city of Lynn, we need to increase the number of investment, the commercial investment in the city of Lynn. So we need to attract more businesses. Because that way we can increase more. The economics of the city would be much better. So we need to bring more businesses to the city.
Okay. Richard?
Thank you. That's one of the major questions that we should be discussing. As city councilmen at large, and as candidates, is that we don't have an industrial base anymore. We used to have, the city of Lynn used to be an industrial based society here. large corporations and companies. Now we have tripled down to just a couple of them. So we need to take and go out there and find true investors that are willing to take and utilize some of the open-based land that we have, remaining that we have, to bring back some major corporations and major money to get the large investments for the commercial investment. Because without that, the homeowners' taxes are going to rise, and we're going to force the homeowners incapable of buying a house and staying in the city of Lynn. So we definitely need that commercial-based tax breaks that we can offer any of the major investors and the companies that are willing to take and do business in the city of Lynn.
Thank you. Brian?
Thank you for the question. So what we've been doing so far is reaching out to different types of business that we feel would flourish here in the city. Life sciences, for example, there's been a whole group of community leaders, both elected and non-elected, that are reaching out to the life sciences. We're one of just a handful of communities that are being searched out by these different types of businesses. And it's important to support the businesses that are here, that they're maintaining, that they have the funding that they need. The restaurant industry that's been in the city, they suffered, so great over the COVID pandemic, and how we, as a council, along with the mayor's office, afforded the money from the Affordable Care Act, additional grants on top of what some of these businesses have already received. That's a way of supporting them to continue and stay here in the city to support that commercial tax base. Another example would be working with the EDIC department. One of the big projects that kind of fell off, the focus was 225 Boston Street. That was proposed to be sold and turned into residential. EDIC stepped up, bought the property to help have it remain as commercial property, a tax base in the city, and it also helped our veterans here in the city by having the Veterans Department, the health department right there for them to receive services that they need. Those are some examples, and I look forward to more questions around that. Thank you.
Okay. Roger?
Well, thank you. To me, it's all about business. We need to create more business in downtown Lynn. Every single corner in our city should be a business. Especially, I own a restaurant, so I think one of those is great. But any type of business that will create more jobs for people, for our citizens, and also another important thing that we got to building real estate property that people can buy and own businesses like condominiums. That'll be great for our city to create more taxes. And like I said, more business. We need to especially focus on people that wanted to come to downtown Lynn instead of living downtown Lynn. We need to work on that. We need to make it attractive for people. And if we have a business in every corner, we can actually do that. And business is what we actually need, any type of business. Encourage people to come in, open up business, especially the new generation that is growing in our city. Thank you.
Ryan?
Well, thank you. We continue to do well in terms of business development. Look no further than grand openings of restaurants and small businesses throughout our city when we're doing ribbon cuttings. And very supportive of Mayor Nicholson's, and Councilor Field referenced this, the idea around smart growth. Smart growth in our city has to be the next vision, if you will, because there are high-paying jobs associated with that sector. And our waterfront must continue to develop, and it cannot develop as it has in the past years or decades. It must take on the responsibility of offices, growth, apartments. All of these dwellings that are being built around Lynn right now are contributing to a bustling tax base, and that's going to alleviate the pressure for our homeowners and residents. So when you see new housing development go up, like on where the former Union Hospital site was on Linfield Street, or in the downtown, you're actually contributing more to your tax base, and it's keeping seniors here and staying in the city of Lynn rather than moving out of the city. So we're very cognizant of the development. We want to be responsible developers when we approve development, that is, and the developers must be responsible and must not overly rely on this council to ask for tax incentive financing unless there's a project that it bears fruit to the community itself and benefits the whole community. Because I, for one, will not take a position to support a TIF unless it really it has the benefit of the community itself. Thank you.
Nicole?
Lynn is very attractive to developers, obviously. It's very attractive. I believe we've made our case when we're saying, oh, it's an art downtown and all these great restaurants are coming in and all these great things are happening. We're attracting developers, we're attracting businesses, but what we need to do is when we're negotiating is not to negotiate so much tax breaks for these developers and for people that are coming in and building housing. I think if we would lessen that, we would be able to broaden the tax base in that way.
Hung?
Thank you. Lynn has the potential for great businesses because we have the waterfront, we have the Lynn Woods, we have so many wonderful restaurants in our city, and I would propose that if we start with a monthly, let's say a restaurant, monthly restaurant. So we get all the restaurant owners get together and close the street down and invite people to come to taste our food and see our city. I think that's a great way to attract more business, and also, yeah, make sure our city is safe. We have to make sure that we try to get as much money we possible can to hire more police so police can walk around and to make sure our business is safe, and work with the Lynn Area Chambers of Commerce and Latino Business Association. So they're good organization to work with, and we can sit down with them and find what we can do to commercialize our city, and I also contribute some business in this city as well, and we're doing great, and I see that every week pretty much we receive email and text from Francis Martini and for ribbon cutting. That's a plus. So but always more we need to do, but we have to beautify our city more and make sure our waterfront is clear so we can attract more big businesses to come to our city. Thank you.
Donald?
Thank you, Joe. Just listen to everybody speak tonight. I think this question has been asked every 2 years since Tony Marino was mayor, right? Every candidate, and every 2 years, every election cycle, how do we attract more business in Lynn? Why don't we have more business in Lynn? The last time I checked, before I retired from City Hall, 81% of the tax base comes from property owners in Lynn. 19% from commercial and business. That's a lot higher than other cities in the North Shore. I'm not sure if it's the highest, but most of our tax base comes from homeowners. I think the answer is simple in Lynn. We need to make sure our city is safe, our image is better, and the city is clean, right? We have to ask businesses why they're not coming into Lynn. I read in the Boston Globe last week, there was two big one was a federal government lab, one went to Bedford, one went to Cambridge. I'm not sure why. I know we're doing outreach. Why didn't that come to Lynn? We have to ask people, why aren't these big companies coming into Lynn? And I think it's public safety, police, people need to feel safe, and they want to come into our city and build a business. I was at a Chamber of Commerce meeting a couple of weeks ago at the Y, and I asked, why do I have to drive to Salem one way and Revere the other to go to Target or Marshalls? Why can't we build a Target or Marshalls on the site behind the firehouse on Western Avenue across from the Market Basket? And I think one of the answers was that the owner of Market Basket isn't interested. Why isn't he interested in building in Lynn? I think we also need to review the process. I know we've always talked about City Hall and how things get done, and I've spoken to a lot of business owners since I've come out as a candidate here, since April and May. Private businesses, why they're building, why they're not building. But we need to make the process better for them, and we need to ask businesses why. Thank you.
Okay. The next question, and Richard will go first, is, are you satisfied with current efforts to curb violence in the city, and what ideas would you bring to the table?
No, I'm not satisfied with the progress of the the police department and the operation of the police department. For 27 years, I was a Massachusetts State Trooper, and I think I have worked in the majority of the cities and towns in this Commonwealth. And beginning of every summer, there's a push to advocate for better police officers at the beginning of the city and beginning of the summer program, because if violence goes up as young people and young adults become into the streets, flood the streets. And I noticed this year, Lynn didn't have any programs to advocate for pulling the young people off the street. And it's the same thing as the city goes along. We need to take and advocate for the police officers to take and integrate themselves within the communities. There are some walking the beat, but that's not enough. We have to have a program that we ask the young people and the young teenagers to take and become part of a system. They have programs that you can bring young people into a program to train them to become police officers and advocate for the city. And the city of Lynn need to do that. So that's how we can curb some of the violence within our city, is educate some of the young people that we have. Thank you.
Brian?
Thank you. I just recently got appointed as the new chair of the Public Safety and Public Health Subcommittee for the City Council. So with the recent uptick of violence just over a month ago, the mayor and the community got involved, calling a public forum over at the Ingalls Elementary School. It brought together a number of different groups throughout the city. Different groups run by the city, Lynn Public Schools, the Lynn Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, all different programs that help provide a safe area for young teenagers to go after school, to have programs, to have peer leaders, to have somebody to talk to. If they don't have something to do at home, it gives them something to do rather than lean towards violence. This discussion is going to continue. I know at our November 14th council meeting, we'll be having a public safety meeting to further discuss these initiatives that were discussed at our recent forum. The Stop the Violence organization that Councilor Hogan from Ward 6 is a big part of. The ROCA here in the city will be there to speak. LISOA is another organization that helps assist the Lynn Police. It's not just the Lynn Police that are going to be able to help solve some of these issues. It's going to be different community groups and all of us working together to help.
Okay, thank you. If anyone needs me to repeat the question, I obviously will, but Roger?
Yes. Well, thank you for the question. It's very interesting. I'm not here to put a blame on nobody. I think we have a wonderful police department in the city of Lynn. To me, I think they can be a little bit more engaging with our community, and we definitely need more people of color in the police department. I think that they overwhelm. There's too many of us and not enough police in our city. We have a problem in our community, and I think it starts at home. We need to educate our kids. We need to talk. We need to be more family-oriented. Talk to them, teach them, not to get involved in gangs and violence. And I also believe that in a school, every single child should participate in a program at the school. I think that playing sports, whatever it is that they have up there, that's going to help a lot to keep our kids off the street. And that's my take on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Brian?
Thank you, Joe. I mean, I don't think anyone at this table would say that they're satisfied with the recent events that sort of paralyzed our city in August and September. And we did take action as a city, as Councilor Field alluded to. There are a number of different programs, a number of different organizations that are stepping up. But overall, people need to feel safe. They need to feel safe when they go to school. They need to feel safe when they're in their homes. They need to feel safe when they're at work. We do have to always be vigilant against, issues of violence and public safety. And there are gaps, no question about that. But we must continue that fight to maintain sort of the education, as people have said around the table, teaching our young people about all of the the bad things that go along with violence in our city. I know that YMCA, for example, stepped up with free teen passes for 7th and 8th graders in middle school. That's going to help. Collectively, if we do drop-in centers, for example, is going to be open through the winter months that Lynn Parks and Recreation do. They do a lot of summer programming to actually keep kids off the streets and employ kids for 6 to 8 weeks every summer. There are programs out there. We are trying to reach as many students as we can, the young people, but that's coupled with, of course, law enforcement and working with other agencies around the city to improve the image and safety itself. Thank you.
Nicole?
I have talked to Chief Reddy about the crime in the city, and he has said that an increase in police officers is needed because of the size of our city. We have over 100,000 people, and when it comes to crime, I can understand that. Criminal activity, police, okay, but when it comes to things such as overdoses or mental health issues or wellness checks, things like that, I believe that the police station could use help with those types of things. And I know that the recent violence was from our youth. So, and because of that, I would say creating a council on adolescence that works and, make sure that young adults have, a purpose in our city, and this council would promote positive development of all youth and young adults in our city. So it would be like the Council on Aging, but it would be a council for adolescents, and it would be, members of this council would be 16 to 26 years old. So, as far as youth and young adults go, we need to incorporate them in our city in a way that is meaningful. Crime, if you want to increase police officers because they're targeting that, and that's what they're supposed to do. But we also need to focus on an crisis response team as well to help mitigate other issues in our city.
Thank you. Juan?
It was sad for our city for when the violence occurred a few weeks ago, and we all came together and we found ways to help to reduce crime in our city. I think the police and firefighters do wonderful jobs, and I wrote at night with them and I see how they work. So they do a wonderful job despite the number they have, and we will have to continue help them to keep our city safe. And also, I think we should consider have a youth center, so that way we can have a social worker or counselor and always there for them, and there's a place for them to go. I strongly still believe that we should find money to do that. Also, the three professors at Salem State University reached out to me, and they specialize in gang activities. They came from other countries, but they live in two of them live in Lynn, so they would like to join the mayor's team. So I reached out to the mayor, and the mayor's happy about that. So I will arrange meeting with them, see if they can help us to find ways to reduce gangs in our city and work with the police. And also unarmed crisis is a big part of that. So we have worked with them and other community and other organizations like the LISOR and other organizations. Thank you.
Thank you. Donald?
Thank you. I feel it's a two-pronged approach. So number one is obviously we need more police resources. We need to be creative with our police department, work with Chief Reddy and his team to be more creative. I would suggest that we bring 3 or 4 motorcycle officers back on if we can afford that, find the money for that. They can go into the parks, and not as an intimidation aspect, but of an outreach aspect to talk to the kids and talk to our citizens. The motorcycles could be used for any the scooters and the dirt bikes driving down the middle of the road doing wheelies and things. The motorcycle officers could respond to that. I think it's very important. I'm not sure if there's a separate question about mental health and dual diagnosis and substance abuse disorders, but that's something we have to keep our eye on. I would call for a citywide summit with all our nonprofits from Roker and Lysola, like we've all said. Have a big summit at the college, bring them in. I've done that with the opiate crisis a few years ago out of Lynn Court. Also making sure that we provide resources for the kids, get to them young, work with the school system. Why are kids resorting to fist fights and guns and things like that? Intervene earlier on that wherever we can. I know my friend Chris Vasquez is a Boston police officer. They have vehicles at the police in Boston called community service cars. They don't take phone calls. They just go out into the community. I'm assuming there's staffing issues in Lynn, but you can have a community service car, work with the neighborhood groups, and go out, and there's an officer assigned to that full-time in Boston police districts, regular. I want to acknowledge Roker and Lysola and the Lynn Drug Court for doing a good job in the city of Lynn and working with us. But bringing all aspects of the city together is important. Thank you.
I'm definitely not certified. I think there's a lot more that can be done. We need more police officers, but also we need more police officers that look like the community. The community is very diverse, so we need more police officers that look more like community. But we need more funding for the police, because I think the police, and I congratulate the police department. They're doing a tremendous job. They're doing a good job out there, but they need more funding so they can do a better job. Also, I think we need to go back to the community policing. So that we can have a more integrated police officer with the community. Also, I would say that we need more resources to our community, around the community of color, the Hispanic community. Training, we need training. We need training for good job for the youth. So when they get out of school, after school they can have good paying job, some money in their pocket. So I definitely would advocate for more funding for police officers so they can do a better job.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to the third question, and Brian Field will lead off on this one. And it's a little longer than some of the others, but litter, illegal dumping, furniture and mattresses, trash-strewn playgrounds, even with community cleanup efforts. What more, if anything, can the City Council do to further reduce this perpetual issue?
Thank you for the question. I think that's what I touched on right in my opening welcoming. I co-chair the Litter and Trash Subcommittee with Council Vice President Diana Shakutis. Initiatives that we've taken have helped improve areas like parks and different areas around the city. We initiated our Keep Lynn Clean Saturdays, which is a volunteer effort, 10 Saturdays in the spring, followed by 10 Saturdays in the fall. From 9 to 11 in different areas around the city where we choose a park or an area in the city to volunteer and clean it up that day. And other initiatives that we've taken, we've improved on the recent dumpster ordinance, different requirements around that gives ISD a little bit more teeth into the battle with that. Because it attracts rats, another public health problem. Different opportunities around Saturdays down at the DPW for people to dispose of different household items that they have at their house that won't get collected curbside. There's an opportunity for them that way. We've used American Rescue Plan money to invest in new barrels to help improve in the city. You might see the big belly barrels. You might see the creative outdoor barrels that are now being placed in different areas around the city. Those are steps that we're taking, and I look forward to continuing this conversation throughout the evening. Thank you.
Roger, do you need to repeat the question?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I think that's a big issue that we have in our city. I think the police department and the neighborhood and everybody should be more vigilant because it's a lot of illegal dumping everywhere. Right now, because they don't take the mattresses out, you notice that everywhere there's a corner that you can't see or there's no cameras, people go and throw the mattress and all the trash in there. And we should try to make people, accountable for that. We also need to work with our DPW to maybe if we have a easier site for some of the residents, they don't have a truck, to load up a mattress to bring it over there. Maybe if it's possible, to create some funding to have a truck that can come around the neighborhood to pick up mattresses, maybe at least once a month, or a dumpster near downtown, when that's happening a lot. We definitely have a problem with our rats. That's everywhere. Sometimes they chew the covers of the recycling bin that we have. So I don't know, maybe change the cover up to put a metal cover on it or something, because work with that. But talk to our citizens to please be more vigilant for that and to be more concerned. And that's my take on that. Thank you.
Okay. Brian.
Thank you, Joe. It is one of the most frequent calls we receive as councilors is the illegal dumping throughout the city. And the answers we've tried to come up with, and I applaud Councilor Field for his activism in the parks and playgrounds and the cleanups. And we also do a littering contest, a poster contest for all second graders throughout the city of Lynn that Councilor Field initiated with Councilor Chakutis some years ago. So education is key. Also, these dumpster days that we're having more frequency, you'll notice we're having a paper shredding day now. It's a shred day that you can go down to DPW and unload all your documents that may be private, and you can do shredding down there. We have hazardous waste material day. We also have white good day. The mattresses are a real problem, and the problem becomes putting it curbside and contacting waste management. A lot of people don't have the money. They don't have the resources to spend $30 or $40 to remove a mattress. So when you're getting a new mattress, obviously you want to negotiate with the company you buy one from to take your old mattress. It's as simple as that sometimes. But some people just cannot do it, and they end up dumping it. So thankfully our DPW is on the top of their game. I've had more folks help me with removing of such things, but it doesn't get to the root of the problem, which is litter, which is illegal dumping, and how we combat that. So with my little time remaining, I'll continue to field these calls and get at the appropriate folks, and hopefully we can make ourselves a cleaner, much happier city because of it. Thank you.
Nicole?
Litter is definitely a huge problem in our city. There are an increase in initiatives that have been happening around the city. I'm happy to see the cleanups of the parks. I'm happy to see, I know in Ward 3, they just walk down Green Street and they just pick up litter. You know what I mean? Because but is it helping? And are we instilling a sense of pride in our residents so that they will want to keep these streets clean? I think that it's important to get back to the basics of just having some pride in your area and wanting to keep it clean. And that's just not the situation right now. And I think that we can do that by, starting with the businesses, maybe having the businesses, start with keeping emptying their dumpsters more often, sweeping in front of their specific places where their property, and keeping that clean, especially like Union Street is what I'm thinking of when I'm saying this. So I mean, just encouraging people and maybe giving them incentives as to why, to make it more appealing to them to keep their area neat and free of litter. So I think that it's worth thinking about what we can do and how we can collaborate better with our businesses and our community as a whole, and showing them from the top down that, what we expect as a city from our residents. And also accessibility. I think it's worth saying what Rogelio was saying, that, making things accessible, bringing a truck around and, having people put their trash in it it's just an idea.
Thank you. Hong?
Thank you, Joe. Yes, everybody touched on all important points. I agree. So yeah, we have to have more dumpster days, and your truck got to go around, and because we should encourage our residents to cut those matches to small pieces so they can fit into barrels, and that's important. Also, we should have invest and put up signs that warn people that, so if you cut, then you will be fined. So make it a big fine, like $100 to $500, something like that. And I strongly believe that, and invest in cameras, civilian cameras. and we have to work hard to get money to do that. But I applaud my colleague Bain Field and Diana Chikuris and work on this really hard, and we are all behind them, and we got students get involved in this, so this is a plus. So I think we're doing the right thing, but it's not enough, and we got to focus more and work with DPW to create more dumpster days, so that way they have enough time and enough to take their mattresses to throw away and where they should be. And so we will work on that, and we will do what we can to help them to impose that. Thank you.
Thank you. Donald?
Thank you. I just want to acknowledge the DPW, the commissioner, deputy commissioner, the staff of the DPW, Councilor Field, the Councilor Chakoudas, and all the other councils that are doing the litter patrol. I was at Ames Playground with Councilor Field the other day, and after a rainstorm, and a bunch of us picked up a mattress, which is probably 600 pounds. There was 4 of us trying to dump it onto the truck. But it's a good program. It's a good start. The issue is rather simple, right? People are littering. We don't know why. We have to educate them. Maybe a new public campaign. I have the Sewell Anderson framed litter winner, Trey Henderson from Sewell Anderson, on my wall in the kitchen. It was at my wall in City Hall that he won that year. So how do we do it? Do we have to do a campaign? There's probably a language barrier. We have to make sure we have the campaign in different languages. In addition, do we just simply continue to respond to pick everything up and do the best we can? It's probably both. Having the city respond. We need to look at our DPW staffing compared to cities our sizes. Do we have enough employees in our DPW, and do we need more? And the last part is enforcement. As everyone at the table said, we need to enforce it. If it has to go from City Hall to District Court, we need to enforce it, because it's really the biggest issue I'm hearing in the city. Also, maybe bring in a professional or somebody else to maybe do a little survey or assessment on what other cities are doing to control the trash. The bottom of Lover's Leap, there's a TV, I think it's still there today, just laying on the sidewalk. For some reason, maybe people just don't know, and that they're not sure. But enforcement, responding, and a new campaign to educate. Thank you.
Thank you. Jose?
Well, illegal dump is a serious problem in the city of Lynn. Not only because of the rat, which is very serious, but also the city doesn't look good. When we have visitors, then the city is dirty. It's not good. So I think like Brian said, that education is key. We need to educate our residents. So we need to find a way so the information get to them, because we need to understand. I know we have ordinance around that, but so many residents, they list check by check, and they don't have the money to pay to bring the mattresses and furnitures and to the DPW. So my suggestion is that the DPW come to those around the city and to pick up those mattresses, so that way the residents can just call, can you pick up a mattress here and there? Because I know that some of the reason they probably put it outside because they don't have the money to, and all the resources to even go over there and bring that to them. So that's what I think about it.
Richard?
Thank you. Literacy, a major problem. I live off of West Green Street, and next to where I live, there's a sofa and chair and stuff that's been there for the last 3 months. If I seen it, the police department, as they passed over, they seen it, but I'm trying to find out, do the City of Lynn, DPW, have an emergency telephone number, which would be essential to call up and says, hey, we have some garbage need to be disposed of. Could you come pick it up? That's one of the major things, is you have to have a communication line for the public. I think the citizens of Lynn know what the rules and regulations are. Just like it says, finances is a major problem. They can't afford to pay to have them. But if we get them dumped on the sidewalk, that's also the money problem, because now the city have to come out and pick them up. So, but if we can see them, have an emergency telephone line to pick it up. Also, we have the new barrels. I appreciate the city for putting them out there. They look beautiful, but they have to be dumped. I go around the city as I walk. I notice the city of Lynn on Union Street, the barrels are overflowing. Rats are now crawling into them. So they have to be responsible for everyone in the city. And it starts with the DPW and comes back down. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Roger, we're going to lead off with you with the next question. It's kind of related, but it's a bigger picture. What zero waste strategies would you adopt in order to reduce the amount of waste that gets sent to the waste incinerator in Saugus? And this comes from one of our viewers. So,
Okay. We can start by, especially landlords, the people that own a large apartment building, they can actually start recycling. You know how they have one dumpster? They can have two, one for recycle. And that should be with every businesses in the city. That it needs to be, we need to recycle all the stuff that we have, especially carton boards, things like that. You know, I own a restaurant, and you can start with me. All of us, we should be doing that, you know, and especially teaching our residents that it's important to recycle. They're already doing it, but sometimes you see that they throw all the stuff in there that they're not supposed to be dumping in there. And that's just about it, you know, just trying to reduce the amount of stuff that people throw in those recycling bin. That's just it. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
thank you. Brian, do you need me to repeat the question?
No, thank you, Joe. Zero waste, and I agree with Roger. Largely, it's about education. It's about doing a better job with our recycling totes. You know, countless times I've heard the cries for weekly recycling as opposed to bi-weekly. It's a cost to do that, of course. And when people aren't really recycling in the proper ways, it kind of defeats the purpose, if you will. And I think about half of our homeowners are actually recycling properly at this point, and it's costing us more to dispose of the recycling because it's mixed and it's you know, combined with regular trash. So that's not helpful. One of the good signs, I will say, in our schools to get to eliminate the carbon footprint, because of the pandemic, a lot have gone to paperless classrooms, and you know, with Schoolology and virtual, and a lot of the assignments now being on laptops, and you know, not in being in a green way, a sensitive way to our environment. That has been an improvement. We can do that along the city as well. I'd love to see recycling in our city buildings, starting with City Hall, and a bigger approach and emphasis, as I say, on the zero waste and on eliminating basically going paperless in so many ways. And we're trying to do that now with online billing and things like that, where people get messages via text or email, so that you try to eliminate all the paper you can disseminating out of City Hall and other public buildings. So it's a work in progress, and I know it's very costly, and we'll do our best.
Nicole.
I'm going to echo what you've been hearing thus far with the recycling. I do feel that we can start with our businesses with that, and having an initiative where they're being educated about how to recycle and what needs to be recycled. And I'm happy to see that when I went to Harrington School, a lot of the children there had learned about recycling, and they were using water bottles that weren't plastic. They were using water bottles from home, and then that cuts down on our waste as well. And I'm going to also suggest composting. That's an initiative that other communities are using, and I think that Lynn could also use that. I did see the DPW at some point had an initiative for composting. So bringing those types of initiatives back, advertising them, making sure that they're not done in just one place, but they're done in various places throughout the city is very important. So if you're going to have an education class or some type of initiative, I think you should make sure you're hitting all locations of the city, because the city of Lynn is so big. And I definitely advocate for more DPW workers, because that helps with just being able to educate our city and keep our city litter free.
Zero waste, sorry, zero waste is very important, and I would suggest that we should have a big recycle bin, just like the trash bin that we have. So we should order a few of those and just encourage people just when they don't have enough space to put in the trash bin, bring it to where they should be. That's how I feel. And also, yeah, I had brought the DPW people to educate some of the people who couldn't speak English well, so it was very helpful. So I thought that we should continue to do that more often, so educate people like the rest of my colleagues said. Education is the most important. People need to know what to do and where to recycle and what kind they should not recycle. I think that's important. But yeah, I want to stress that. Yeah. So where I work, so we are paperless right now. So we don't use paper anymore. That's a great thing. And so that should start in our city as well. And like I said, recycle bin. I don't know what to call, like a big one, like the dumpster place. So we should invest in one of those in our city, or at least a few in our city. So that way they know where to throw the papers in there. So I would propose that. Thank you.
Donald?
Thank you. It's a similar issue as the litter, right? How do we educate and get the word out? How to have people increase recycling and go towards zero waste is our goal. I know some of my neighbors weren't aware of the purple bags on the regular trash. Maybe we should provide the purple bags free of charge at this point so people understand, and we can educate them on that as well. As we go down the line, everyone talks on the top. I write down my points, and all you guys touched on them already, so I don't want to be redundant, but the composting equipment's important. The rain barrel overflow is very important. I know in the past, I think maybe the current councilors may know, I think we used to have a part-time recycling coordinator years ago. I'm not sure if that's still around, but I would work with the council and the mayor to bring back the part-time coordinator. I think she used to go out into the neighborhoods and talk to the neighbors and educate them on site about how to, you know, I know some of my neighbors put some of their plastic in the dishwasher and wash it before they put it in the recycling bin. How important it is to clean out the containers. Just important stuff. I would ask for some of the American Rescue Plan funding to go towards that recycling program. Also, I know there was some talk of solar panels on our public buildings to lower electric and kind of waste like that. But all these initiatives are really good, and I would work to you know, head towards zero waste and increase more recycling.
Again, recycling is very important for our environment, and education is key again. And I believe if we need to start with businesses, especially restaurants and also grocery stores, that if we can work together, if businesses can work together with DPW, and then they get educated, but then the businesses get incentives from the city, so they learn how to do how to separate how to do the recycling. Also, that question I remember came up 2 years ago when I ran, and I said it back then, and I said it again. For those big buildings, we need to implement. The city need to implement that they have another dump, a separate dump for recycling, because residents put in all the trash and everything in one dump. So with most residents in big buildings, there's no recycling. So I think we need to implement that. That will help a lot with the environment.
Thank you. Richard?
That's a very good question. The recycling needs to start at home. And me, myself, I went from 2 big old barrels to 1 barrel now. So we need to start at home. How do we recycle our equipment, the stuff that we buy? What do we use? We need to buy bags that we can reuse on a constant basis. Every time we go, take an old bag with you. The boxes that we have, compost, break them down. I run a garden. I use a garden myself to raise fruit, and I compost everything. Crush it back down, reuse it. It's good. So it's fertilizer. So those are the things that we need to take and work along with the DPW. The DPW need to take and work along with the state, because I think the state is now implementing a bottle-free zone for the state. So we need to take and get on board and find out how we as a city can integrate what the state is doing and make sure that the feds, we are working as a unit, because whatever we use is goes everywhere. It's end up every place. Landfills is non-existent anymore. Too much land is being taken up. So we need to take and come up with a better plan than what we have for recycling, and compost, I think, is a very good idea. Thank you.
Brian?
Thanks, Joe. I think right when you asked the question, I looked around at all the tables and I saw these single-use bottles. And I think the answer's right there. I think, eliminating simple things like this, some of the initiatives that we've taken in the past couple of years are eliminating the use of plastic bags at supermarkets in the city. Those are non-recyclable. Different things like that. I was just introduced to composting the other day by my neighbor. It's an initiative that I look forward to bringing to the mayor's office and my colleagues on the council to see how we can have a curbside collection like they do every Wednesday to compost food items that don't have to go into the barrel. Councilor LaPierre talked about different paperless options that the City Hall can start with. The schools have already done it. I'd like to see city government start to do that more, and then that initiates into the business community and to different junk mail that we still get in the mail every day that goes right into the recycle. There was a recycle coordinator that was funded through a grant that we'd like to see continue educating the public about clean and dirty recycled materials. Just throwing things that are contaminated, simple things like a pizza box with oil on it, contaminates the recycle, not just for your own barrel, but everybody's barrel that was collected. So it does cost the city additional money to do that. There are initiatives that are out there. We're learning. I went to my son's college this weekend, and every floor in the school had the filtered water stations. I'd like to see those throughout the schools for kids to get used to. It's the next generation that's teaching us, really. So I'd like to see us go through with some of those new initiatives in the city of Lynn.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to the fifth question, and Brian LaPierre will lead off. Okay, and if anyone wants me to repeat the question, just say so.
Hopefully I don't, but you listen here.
Yeah, I was looking at you.
You listen intently at you.
Let's talk about traffic control for speeding, aggressive driving, especially around school pickup and drop-off. Would you approve money in the city budget or suggest other options for addressing this issue?
Well, I certainly would. If it were that easy, I definitely would be in favor of that. And I see it in my travels. I have one child at Pickering now, and my other oldest son is at Classical. So I'm amongst those fighting to get down to Holyoke Street in the morning and trying to get up to Parkland to up at the Wyoma Square area to drop number 2 off. So, it's becoming untenable, and I don't use that term loosely. I think what we've tried to do is listen to community members, but it's an ongoing issue during peak school hours. Retirees will tell me they can go out from like 11 to 1 a.m. and that's their safe zone, 2 hours a day, because it's havoc the rest of the day. So we need answers to this. We did do some speed humps. There was a pilot on O'Callahan Way. We're looking at the statistics on that. We're doing these speed things that monitor your speed. The police have been more visible this school year around the O'Callahan Way area as of late at both morning and drop-off. But we can all do more as a community, and carpooling and the like. But it is a very difficult issue to stop, whether it's speeding, whether it's traffic control, and traffic itself. So I'm on board with any answer, but yes, I would appropriate more money, earmarking it toward traffic control for sure.
Okay, Nicole?
Yes, traffic is a huge issue. There's speeding, there's people just not obeying the rules of the road at all. I see it every day. People are going down one ways the incorrect way. They're making weird turns. They're switching lanes where they're not supposed to. It's just, it's very dangerous out there when you're trying to walk the streets of Lynn. And I've been walking a lot as of late, so I've been seeing a lot of the issues. And a lot of things have been tried already in our city that I'm learning. You know, so there's been increased signage. There's been speed humps already been tried as well. So it's now a matter of, you know, what can we do and what will work, and we need to make something work. So I'm definitely on board with speed bumps, and I'm on board with increased signage, especially around the school areas and around our senior citizens areas. So if there's like a sign that says seniors live here, go slow, or you know what I mean, something to deter people from speeding and endangering our pedestrians, I am all for it. So definitely speed bumps, increased signage, and maybe even some police patrol would be great.
Hong?
I agree with everybody. So, yeah, I live close to school. It's so hard to get out every morning, you know, and you know where I live on Holyoke Street. The 5 schools, many, 3 or 4 schools in that area is so difficult. But yeah, I will appropriate some money to eliminate the traffic, definitely. So we're going to work on that, and the speed bump is very important for, especially close to school or small street. That's important because people are going nuts and driving like crazy, and I'm so afraid that they might hit students and police. Yeah, I see that police has been around the school a lot, and they start to give tickets right now. I see that's great. So we will continue to work with them to make sure they have enough bodies to present at those places, and at least to scare them away. So now, okay, there's police there, I know, and so they to save people's lives, and yeah, and of course the sign, like Nicole said, signs is important, so we gotta put that, but we gotta find ways to work with the mayor and CFO to find money to put all those things in place. And yes, I am in favor of that. Thank you.
And Donald?
Thank you. Yes, I am in favor of that, allocating funds. The question is where it comes from, right? The speed bump, I spoke to many people at Current Circle and O'Callahan Way. They liked it. They liked the speed bump. It slowed people down. Any behavior like this, people have to know there's going to be consequences and accountability, that they may get pulled over, they may get a ticket. I saw the Lynn police up by Lincoln Thompson the other morning. Someone ran a stop sign at the peak hour of elementary school coming in, and they pulled the person over. I'm not sure what happened, but it's a quality of life issue in the neighborhoods. I see all the good work going on down on Pleasant Street. I was down there this morning. The bump outs, those are all nice things. I give the council credit for that. I think that's good programs. I would like to buy 3 or 4 dozen. I did see a couple of those little flashing radars with the smiley faces, and they show up if you're going slow, and they give you the unsmiley face when you're going too fast. I lived 1.1 miles from my house in Pine Hill to City Hall. I could literally, if I was a police officer, given 10 tickets in 1 mile. People parking in crosswalks on the curb too close to the intersection. That's like a triple fine right there. So we need more enforcement. I do see the parking department is getting technology-wise. We need to get smart with technology. We need to have the app or the 311 system I've been talking about, where people can call in 311 or use an app if it's not an emergency and report things to the police or the city hall to address these issues. But you know, I don't know if I saw a funny thing on Facebook the other day. No one using a blinker, and they said this person was out of blinker fluid. So you know, it was kind of a good joke, but we got to get people back on track with Chapter 90 violations. Thank you.
Jose?
Yes, thank you for the question. Speeding is a serious problem around the city, and I definitely agreed that we should allocate funds to get that issue solved. I totally believe that we need a speed hump. Like when I usually go in the morning to drop my son at school, my little son is 3 years old. He got up in Beverly, and when I come back from there, this is speed hump. and I think it's very effective. Those speed humps are near schools, and that helps. So that make understand the drivers that they need to go slow because it's around schools. So I believe that we need to do that not only around schools, but around buildings where we had our seniors living, and around many busy streets that are speeding, drivers are speeding all the time. So I definitely agree with that, and we need to work to have, and also agree with Nicole that we need to have more signs so the drivers see that there's seniors at the school, and more police visibility around school. Thank you.
Richard.
Yes, excellent question. Speed bumps, speed humps, they're only good in the summertime, and speeders are year-round. It's an old platform that we used to do. One was we get an empty school bus, set it in the school district area, and have someone taking pictures. 3 days later, you get a citation at your house, and you say, why? Here you go. Also, we used to take and have ride the school buses, because as the speeders go by, they go around school buses. Sign is out, they go around school buses. Kids come all the time. I think 2 days ago, a couple of them got missed by cars going around. And we used to sit there and take the license plates down and send them a citation. At the same time, we had the cameras rolling, and they said, well, how you know it was me? I don't know it was you, but it was your car. So here's your citation. So the police need the funding so they can come up with programs that can really work and be enforced in the city of Lynn. And it's not only for the school, but it's the seniors also, because all the seniors, the housing I went to, that's the first thing they tell. I'm pulling out from my housing, I can't get out. There's a car. They zooming past me. So we need to come up with a strategy for the police department to do their job. Thank you.
Thank you. Brian?
Thank you for the question. As I talk to residents throughout the city, from Ward 1 to Ward 7 and every neighborhood in between, whether it's Fay Estates, Veterans Village, this is the #1 issue this election cycle. And it really comes down to just enforcement. As a council, we can reach out to the mayor to ask for additional funding in his budget, in his next fiscal budget, for the police so they can step up enforcement. But the numbers in the police just aren't there at the current time. I think the speed bumps that were alluded to today it was a trial period on O'Callahan Way. We're still looking through that data to see how effective they were. I applaud Councilor Shakoudas' effort on Pleasant Street to get those bump outs for the elderly that live in those towers in that neighborhood. That's certainly going to improve that. The police have stepped up enforcement in those neighborhoods, and she's been very proactive on that. Councilor President Walsh started the initiative with the speed limit digital signs that was funded for the DPW to place those. Those are able to be changed out around the city. They're not permanent on one particular pole, but can be moved around the city to address and assist the police in identifying high speed areas. But streets like Pleasant Street, the Lynn Commons, Holyoke Street, O'Callahan Way, Parkland Ave, Eastern Ave, Den Quarry, every street shares the same concern, and we're working towards a better improvement. Thank you.
Thank you for mentioning Parkland Avenue. And Roger.
Thank you for the question. Yes, I'm in favor of that. The only thing that slows people down is when they see police lights. And for that, we got to have a police officer, like a couple cruisers in every street where there's a school zone. And high traffic, it creates road rage. People get angry. They don't want to be late for work or whatever reason. I have an idea. I think if we encourage kids to take the MBTA bus to go to school, we can work with that to try to get more people to use public transportation to go to school. That would alleviate a little bit part of that problem. And I got to agree with Mr. Felton, the speed bumps, it only works during summertime. What are you going to do when you have to plow and you got a speed bump? They're going to brake it, or they're going to brake their car, they plow. I think that more signage will help, and more funding for the police, so that way they can have a cruise in every school zone. that will help. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes that round. So we'll begin with the sixth question, and Nicole's going to go first. And the sixth question is, affordable housing is a growing problem as the cost of living continues to increase. What ideas do you have to prevent low or fixed income residents from being forced out?
For affordable housing, I'm happy that currently we have the housing trust in place, and that developers have to put 10%, if they don't want to have 10% affordable housing inside of their development, they have to put it in this trust, and that trust will be used to build affordable housing. So that's a start. And in order to help residents not be pushed out of our city, we need to advocate for them. I mean, there's a community organization called Lynn United for Change, where I met with some residents that just recently had their rent increased after a year or two of living in the building, and it was increased astronomically to the point where they had to keep on going back and forth with their landlord. And just recently, the council signed off on a letter to that landlord, to the property owner, requesting that rent not be increased. So these are the type of initiatives that we can do as local political officials, like advocate for our residents, and try to help them not be pushed out of the city to the best of our ability.
Okay, Juan?
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, affordable housing is a major crisis, and there's a 50% of our residents live in fixed income, and about 30 to 40% of people are they're renting, so they use that money toward rental. So so our job is to work with developers and with business to make sure that we have the fund to help them. Also, we have to work with the housing authority to build more affordable housing. And yeah, we have affordable housing in place now. 10% is not enough, so we always need more. And so we do what we can with the landlord, with the city, with the developer. We don't want our residents to move out of our city because it's very expensive to live here. And I know a lot of people have been moved out, and because they don't like the city, they want to stay here. But we have to find ways to help them by we are working on it with the housing authority and developer to make sure they build more houses for affordable for them, and we're going to work with them and sit down with them and find ways to help them. The city have the obligation to help them, to make sure they feel they can make some money as well, so we have to be careful with that as well. Thank you.
Donald?
Thank you. I think we need to make sure that people that are from Lynn, that are Lynn people, that were born and raised here, are allowed to live here and have a rent that they can afford. I support the trust fund, the inclusionary zone ordinance. I believe it requires 10% of housing, new housing, and mixed-use developments to be set aside for affordable housing, set by a local AMI, and area medium income set by HUD. Sometimes the AMIs get confusing. I did some of that with the APA programs. A lot of people have different formulas for an AMI. I think it's real important that we make sure Lynn people can remain in Lynn, raise their kids in Lynn, and go to school in Lynn. I know there's some specific areas in the vision plan. I don't know if we're going to get into that, that they address about development, but I think when we build new housing in Lynn, we should have some there for people that need to stay there and live there and raise their family in Lynn. Thank you.
Jose?
Affordable housing is a major issue in the city of Lynn, and our community is feeling the pain. You can look around, and when I talk to residents around the city while knocking on doors, that's one of the major issues. They cannot put up with the increase in rent all the time. So I think it is a beginning that what they did with the inclusionary zoning to put a 10%, but I think it is not enough. I think we need at least 20 to 25% for inclusionary zoning. So we don't get our residents to be moved out of the city. For instance, one of my sisters who came very little to the city of Lynn, she loved the city. And unfortunately, she had to move out of the city because she couldn't afford to buy a house here in Lynn. And I'm not talking about only for those who are renting, but for homeowners, for those who want to buy a house, every day is tougher to be a homeowner. In every day the rent increasing, and making people go out of the city. So my sister had to buy a house in Connecticut because she couldn't afford to buy a house here, and she's almost crying because she doesn't want to move from Lynn. So we need to address that issue because it's a very serious issue that is affecting our residents.
Thank you. Richard.
Affordable housing. When all the new houses are built, they are built with different programs that they apply to the builder. And the builder says, okay, I build the houses, you give me a rate reduction or a program that I can afford to make money off of each unit that is rented. But when a person that's trying to rent for affordable housing cannot afford to pay $3,000 a month, that's not affordable housing. No matter what the program they put into place, it's still not affordable housing. I have walked around the city and spoke to the people that was trying to buy a house. They cannot afford to live in Lynn right now. They cannot afford to take and rent a house in the city of Lynn. I met with one young lady, she crying, trying to pay a rent of $2,500 with 2 kids, a husband, and a car. She says, I have to let something go. I said, what are you going to let go, ma'am? She says, my food. You can't let your food go. So the housing is a problem in the city. And we as running for city councilman at large, the mayor, and us running and trying to work with the city, we need to take and come up with affordable housing really for the city, even if you have to bring back rent control. So we have to come up with something that's going to work for everyone in this city, not just because you've been here for a long time, you lived here, but the city is changing the dynamics of it. Thank you.
Brian.
Thanks, Joe. This question's been asked at previous forums over the past 3 times I've ran for Councilor At-Large, and those questions that were asked are being answered by this current council. We've worked with the mayor's office and this council, worked together to establish an affordable housing production plan, an inclusionary zoning, a Vision Lynn plan. These are all things that we've supported. We've supported affordable housing for seniors, the repurposing of the Marshall Middle School, the repurposing of the former Union Hospital site. Those are just a couple of examples that we've taken initiatives on to create affordable housing for seniors in the city, primarily seniors that live currently in the city. We work with Lynn Housing Neighborhood Development to repurpose the former armory on the Commons and support the housing for veterans that they've proposed. These are all different initiatives that this current council has taken and moving steps forward. We look forward to working together as a council with our state delegation, the mayor's office, and our federal delegation to start rent control initiatives, not just in the city of Lynn, but statewide, because it doesn't just affect the city of Lynn, it affects our neighbors to the north, to the south, to the west, to the east. It affects everybody. Different initiatives that we discussed here today, those initiatives are currently being taken and will continue to with this council.
Thank you. Roger?
Thank you. Our city is going through a lot of problems. You know, when you walk around and you talk to some families, you notice that a lot of them, they have a lot of kids. There's a large families in Lynn, people with 4 or 5 kids. that they have to live in an apartment with 2 bedrooms because they can't afford a 4 or 3 bedroom apartment. So I'm in support of the inclusionary zone to stay at 10%, because if we go higher than that, there's no way we're going to attract any developer to come in and start building in our city. What I would like to see is some of these developers, they only building with 1 or 2 bedrooms. They need to create places that are larger for the people, because a lot of our city citizens that we have living in Lynn are moving out because there's no space. They don't know what to go with their family. They got 2 daughters, they got a son, and they put them all together in 1 bedroom. That's no, I would love to create rent to own, a program that can people actually pay rent, and part of that money goes for them. For Sunday, they can own a home or they can own an apartment. And for me, also the electricity problem that we have is too high. The gas prices are too high, and the food. People are struggling to eat. They got to give up something up, like they say. Thank you.
Hey, Brian.
Unfortunately, going last, a lot of folks have taken a lot of my thunder. Councilor Field, I have 6 check marks after everything you spoke about. But the housing production plan, of course, the 10% on inclusionary zoning, our veteran housing at the Old Armory, both Marshall and Union Hospital, 156 new affordable units, Vision Lynn, of course, and our Lynn housing arm of neighborhood development, to name a few initiatives over the past couple of years. I'll focus my answer on something that hasn't been said. I really think it's time for a Gateway Project 2, if you will. That was a wonderful collaborative housing project on Washington near North Shore Community College, where it was all built affordable, but it brought many stakeholders to the table, including Lynn Housing Authority, the City of Lynn, and even the AFL-CIO, which leveraged their pension funds to make that work. It was built union, it was built right, it had 3 bedrooms there, 2 and 3 bedroom units, of course, studios and 1 bedrooms as well. But we need another gateway throughout the city. Affordability, so people can stay here in our city and remain in our city. That's very important. The other point I'd make in my little time that I have left is on the ARPA funds. I listened to stories at City Hall of the folks that were not just double and tripled up, they were quadrupled 5 and 6 times over. Young girls using the bathroom with people that they didn't know, couch surfing at night, finding a place to stay, 6 and 7 people sharing a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom tenement. 50% of our money, our federal money that we got, did go to affordable housing in one way, shape, or form. So I'm proud of that.
Thank you. Okay. Our 7th question, and the lucky winner is Hong Net. You go first. Okay. What is the best way to preserve and expand our infrastructure to meet the city's growth, and how do we cope with the expense?
Well, to expand infrastructure, that's all we need, and we need to work with our state delegation to get more funding. All it's about funding right now we need. And we do have some money, but it's not enough. We have some reserve money for that, but we need funding from the state. And I know that our city is, we can see construction everywhere right now. It's very hard to get by that without see construction, but we need more, because our streets are old and our bridges begin to fall apart, and so sidewalks need to be widened, and all these things that need to be replaced now, because our city is old and we need all this infrastructure. But the state delegates have been doing a wonderful job, and we work well with them, and so thank God they're from here, and they live here. They have served in the council with us many years, and they know what we need and what our city needs. So yeah, we will continue to work with them to get funding, and work with the union, and work with the mayor's office and the federal representative like Seth Moulton. So get all these people get involved, and we get funding and get people to work to expand our infrastructure. Thank you.
Okay, Donald?
Thank you. important capital needs program. It's my understanding now that we do have a capital needs assessment. I think that started underneath Mayor McGee. Nothing's sadder to see when you build a new school or buy a new police cruiser or a fire truck, and 4 or 5 or 6, 7 years later, there's a broken window or something that's not painted or there's a graffiti. So we build things and buy things, but we don't assess what we need to keep it preserved. So a full assessment of all city departments, all city buildings, all city equipment, especially newer equipment, and what we need, and have a program and a budget. Allocate a small percentage of that budget to a capital needs line. I think that's happening now in the city. When we get new stuff, make sure it's maintained. I've been driving through downtown. This is no criticism, but there's been a light, 2 of those lights, one by the police station and one more Central Square, and they're flickering. They've been flickering for about 2 months. And I know I go by and I see it looks like a discotheque out there. So someone needs to replace that light and fix that light. It's been like that for a long time. Those are nice lights. They look beautiful, but we need to make sure we maintain them and assess them and do dedicate a portion of our budget, which I think is happening now, to the infrastructure.
Will you mind repeating the question, please?
What's the best way to preserve and expand our infrastructure to meet the city's growth, and how do we cope with the expense?
Well, the best way, thank you for the question. The best way is to get more fundings, state and federal fundings. So for our infrastructure, if we can, like for example, when we drive around the city, we see so many streets that are in really bad condition, and us who drive there, we drive in and our cars get damaged and everything. So we need to get a better infrastructure, better the street, our street get. And we need to rebuild also our old schools. We have a lot of schools that we started with the Marshall and to have new school, but we need to rebuild all the very old school. The sidewalks, we need to get a better sidewalks, and but basically we need to get more funds. We need to talk with our state delegation to advocate for more fundings.
Okay. Richard.
Funding. We definitely have to work with the state, with the feds. In other words, we call our state reps, our senators and congressmen in Washington, along with the mayor, and try to get the necessary funding that we definitely need for that infrastructure. We do need, those flickering lights need to stop. I go down Union Street. The basing of just about 3 or 4 of those lights on Union Street, the basing is busted. So that's infrastructure that they've been busted for the last 5 or 6 years. So we need to take and make a total assessment, and with the money we get, we have to use it in a proper and just manner. Not just throw it, blow it. We have to take and make sure that if we say we're going to use it for downtown, let's put it for downtown. If we're going to repair the streets, the roads, or the bridges, make sure we get it for that, and do not let it end up in another department. And that's where a lot of times we think the money is going. The city needs it. They say, okay, we can pull it from here and we'll replace it from over here. I spoke with some of the fire department personnel, and they spoke with me, and they said that they've been using some of their own funds out of their own pocket to do some work in the fire department. That's not necessary. That should not be happening. So we need to take and work as a combined unit to take and see where can we best use those funds that we receive. Thank you.
Okay, Brian?
Hey, Joe, thank you. Infrastructure money, that basically streets, sidewalks, curbs, public buildings all around the city. It's based on state funding. We have a good relationship with Senator Crichton. We have a good relationship now with our Governor Healy and Lieutenant Governor Driscoll. They've been to the city multiple times since their appointment, since they were sworn in, to address these specific needs. Again, with our state delegation of Senator Crichton, Representatives Cahill, Capano, Wong, and everyone else that's working to help bring additional funding into the city for schools, for the reimbursement program. They're working hard to improve the reimbursement from the state for the proposed new Pickering School, where 80% should be funded, and it's probably closer to 40% reimbursement, maybe 41% now on the reimbursement ratio. Cities like Lynn, urban communities like Lynn, can't afford to build a new school every 20 years. Different needs for elementary schools. We've replaced roofs. I can't wait to see what the new field house looks like at Tech. Doors, windows on all different schools, from Hood School to Lynn Tech to other elementary schools around the city. The firehouses, you know, they're putting in their own efforts and in their own money and their own time to improve those. Those are things that we need to propose and to continue working with our state delegation to bring that much needed funding into a city like Lynn.
Thank you. Roger?
Thank you for the question. Definitely, we need to work with our state delegation and the federal, because it's time to build new schools in Lynn. But 40% is not enough. We need 80%. And I don't get it why you're not getting it. We need to get that money so we can start building not only the Pickering. We have a whole bunch of schools in the city of Lynn that they need to be rebuilt. Also, we need to work with National Grid. They're creating a problem for us, and they're destroying our streets. They need to fix them. Whenever they do work, they gotta be held responsible for, you know, digging the street. They need to fix it the right way, not patching it up, because that's creating problems for us. And how we deal with this, we need to create more business, a lot more business. That's how we're gonna find the money to help with that, with infrastructure. Thank you.
Hey, Brian?
Thanks, Joe. I don't disagree with any of my colleagues on this question of infrastructure and capital needs and improvements. We have been doing an adequate job in terms of garnishing state and federal monies. There'll be over $90 million invested over the next couple of years in our city, from the eastern and western corridor all the way down from Essex Street as well. So Ward 3, Ward 2, parts of Ward 4. We approved the Northern Strand reconstruction site out to the Linway, and most recently the Broadway Jenner Street project. So infrastructure is happening. I think it's also under the belly. We have to look at water pressure. There's issues around hydrants recently we've discovered. There are the pumping stations infrastructure on Commercial Street. That's going to help with the combined sewerage overflow that was done in Eastland over almost 30 years ago. We have to also look at Kings Beach needs, and Chapter 90 money is just, it's critical, because that's how many new roads you can resurface. It's what you can do with the pot, and we need to expand that pot. We need to look at our city's growth. We need to look and assess everything what they've said about school buildings and so forth, changing the formula with the Massachusetts School Building Authority. All of these things have to happen, especially for gateway cities, because there's 100,000 folks and residents in this city, and they all deserve a fair share, and we need to work hard to improve what we're doing already.
Nicole?
Well, I'm happy that Lynn has a planning department. We have a department that has been working, as Bain Field and LaPierre has said, and Hongnet also, I think, has mentioned Vision Lynn. We were able to approve that plan, and the planning department is there to help us access funding and here to help us, you know, decide what infrastructure makes sense for our city and how we can move forward with that infrastructure and those plans. I mean, I do also agree with everyone at the table that we have to work with the state as well. That was very obvious during the Broadway project. And when we're working with the state, I think it's important that we ensure the process is also going well for our residents, that we're informing them, we're communicating, we're making sure our residents know what is happening when we're doing infrastructure projects. I believe we fell short there on the Broadway project, and I hope that going forward on Western Ave and the Northern Strand and all the things that are coming up, that we do a better job with communicating with our residents. But utilizing our planning department is going to be key going forward, and as far as maintaining that will definitely also be key with our collaboration with the planning department as well.
Thank you. Now we're going to, since I'm a baseball fan and I want to get home and watch the National League, we are going to the closing statements. And Donald will lead off.
Well, thank you. I like that. I didn't get the question first, so I was like panicking what the last question was going to be. But with that said, I just want to say thank you to everybody here, everyone running. It takes a lot to run for public office. You take away from your family and your friends. As I said at the senior action debate, every time you call somebody in your family, they know you need something, so they don't take your calls all the time anymore. But I do ask you for one of your 4 votes on November 7th. I love this city. I've been here my whole life. I've dedicated my life to this city. I take the job very seriously. I can do this job full-time. I'm looking forward to working with the council and the mayor to address important issues. My main thing is accountability and quality of life issues in our city. I talked about a 311 app to address a tree, a broken curb, a street that needs to be paved. We need to get better at that. We need to have a quicker response in getting back to people. People need to know the government's open for them. We need to bring all 4 corners of our city, people of all backgrounds and religions into our government, make them feel welcome. We need to attract business to our city. We need to make sure the city's safe and clean and people want to come here and live here and stay here. Thank you. I ask you for one of your 4 votes.
Thank you. Jose.
Once again, my name is Jose Encarnacion, running for City Council at Large. Thank you to everyone watching the show today, watching the forums. Thank you for those who are behind cameras. Thank you, and thank you for Lynn Television. And once again, I have lived in Lynn for more than 3 decades. I love the city of Lynn. I'm so grateful that the city of Lynn has given me so much, and I'm the last one in the list of the candidates. I'm number 8. So humbly asking to give me one of your 4 votes. You can look at my information, encarnacionforlynn.com. I have three main issues that I'm addressing in my platform. It's affordable housing, economic growth, and public safety. Those are my 3 main points. And I want you to come out and vote November 7th for me. Give me one of your 4 votes, please, to make Lynn, to make this city to grow as a city of opportunity for all. Together we can. Thank you so much for your time, and please vote for me November 7th.
Okay, Richard.
My name is Richard Felton again. I'm number 5 on the ballot. I listened to everyone, and I greatly appreciate it for the staff here at the television station and for all the personnel that's running for a seat. I'm looking for one of your votes. I know we only have 5, but I'm looking for one of those. I'm gonna say 4. I'm looking for to be one of those 4 that you've taken pick. We, as this here city is growing, and it is growing, we need to take and make sure that every ward in this here city is equally represented. Not just Ward 1 or Ward 7, but Ward 2 and 4 and 3 and 5 and 6. And we have to take and make sure that the votes that you put out there for this coming election is the representative of you, the citizens of this great city. And I say great because I done been here for a long time, and I done seen the change. I remember when downtown used to be a downtown. There's no longer a downtown. We have great stores, restaurants, but we don't have a hotel. We don't have a hotel. We want people to come visit, but we don't have a place for them to live. So how can we get someone to come here without a place to live? Let's work on that. Thank you.
Brian.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you, Lynn Community Television, for again hosting this forum this evening to inform our voters. Thank you to the candidates that are here. Especially, this is a lot of time out of our own schedules that happen every 2 years when we're running for office. Congratulations to Councilor McClain and her husband James on their anniversary tonight. She's taken away from her own family time. Important time that we take because it's in our heart to serve you, the community. We're your voice. We're listening to you. 6 years ago, when I was first elected, I sat here in the studio and I said, I want Lynn to be a place that people settle in, not settle for. And I still believe that 6 years later. You elected me then, I ask again for one of your full votes to continue leading a number of issues that we discussed here tonight, from business to crime to litter to infrastructure to housing. Those are all those are all real concerns. Those are all your concerns to the residents of Lynn. We are addressing those on the current council, and we're going to continue to address those. When I first started 6 years ago, the city was facing a $14.5 million deficit. I'm proud to say that the council, working along with Mayor McGee and Mayor Nicholson, were able to solve that issue. Taking necessary steps to make that final payment on that loan just 1 month ago. There's still work to do. I hope that you continue to place your trust in me. I ask for one of your full votes on November 7th, and thank you.
Okay, Roger.
Thank you very much. My name is Roger Garcia. I'm number 2 in the ballot. I'm not your typical, I'm not a politician. I'm a person, I'm a concerned citizen. I've been living in Lynn. I'm a business owner. I'm looking for the opportunity to do what I've been doing all my life, is serving. I want to have the opportunity to treat people with respect, to listen, and to be approachable. I'm in downtown Lynn 7 days a week. Anybody can come to me, have a coffee with me, sit at my place, and I will listen. And I'm a very compassionate person, and I'm humbly asking you to please, November 7th, our city needs changes, and I'm here to represent you well. Vote number 2 on the ballot, Roger Garcia. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Brian.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you to Lynn Community Television for having us here this evening. I am Brian LaPierre. I'm currently a Councilor At-Large, and you entrusted in me in 2015 with your confidence to send me to the Lynn City Council. And I like to think that I've listened, I've learned from you. I am now leading on your behalf with the experience I now have on the council, being in my 4th term. We are working very diligently as a group. We work together collaboratively with the mayor's office and other stakeholders throughout the city. And Lynn is improving. Lynn's doing really well. We can always improve upon it. It has more work to be done. I want to be sent back to continue that work with you along your side. Make no mistake about it. This is a full-time job. We are at it almost every day, morning, noon, and night. either through, and they can find us in a lot of different variety of ways now, on websites and Facebook and messaging and email and the like. And of course, the old-fashioned telephone still works. But we want to be accessible. That's what I prided myself on, not just the big picture items that we vote upon in the Lynn City Council, but also the nitty-gritty issues, your quality of life issues, the things that you care about the most. I answer my calls all the time. I get back to people, I respond, and I support the ward councilors, and we make sure that we're a team and we are there to help you and whatever your issue is at that time. So please, on November 7th, I'm number 1 on the ballot. I respectfully ask for one of your 4 votes once again. Thank you.
Nicole.
I want to say thank you again to Lynn Community Television for having us all here and sharing your platform with us, and for consistently giving a voice to our community and allowing us to be here tonight. I want to improve the resident services that are provided in our city. I want to make sure that your concerns are heard as residents and that I'm there to help you find solutions to those concerns. I bring various perspectives to this seat. I am a woman, I am a person of color, I am a mother, I am a veteran, and I have lived in this city all my life. So I know this city, I love this city, and I am humbly asking for one of your 4 votes on November 7th. I am number 6 on the ballot. Again, you can check my website out, NicoleForLynn.com, and you can also find me on Facebook and Instagram at NicoleForLynn.
Again, thank you, Joe, and the Lynn Community Television for having me here and allowing me to participate in this quorum. I love what I do. I have a passion for it, and we're doing so well together. We work well with the mayor, with all my colleagues at the council, the state delegation, and the federal delegation. So, and I want to continue to do what I'm supposed to do and to represent everyone fairly as possible. I always put politics aside. I try to do the right thing. And in November 7th, I ask for 1 of 4 votes because I want to continue to make our city a much better place for all of us. even though our city going forward the right direction, but it's always room for improvement, and I want to be a part of it. And I think I do a fine job, and I hope that you consider me, send me back to serve our city for 2 more years. And I humbly and respectfully ask for 104 votes. I'm on number 7 on the ballot. And please don't forget me, HongNet. And if you want to check my website, votehong.net. And so I also want to congratulate everyone here for doing such a fine job. Thank you so much and have a wonderful night.
Okay. Okay, that concludes our program. I just want to thank all the candidates. I've been very informative, and I think if folks out there watching on television see something they like in one of the candidates, it's really meaningless unless you get out and vote. You have 4 votes, use them. You have 4 to use. And the good quality candidates running this year, and there's 8 candidates running. That's a little different than prior years, I believe. We've had less than 8. And I think that speaks volumes for the city, and it's a choice, but it doesn't matter unless you vote. So I just urge everyone to vote. That's your voice, and that's how things happen. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you.